In Kentucky, we're moving forward together. Our businesses are winning and our families are thriving. Because Kentucky is a place where business is fast, but the pace of life is just right. We found the way to create a brighter future by working together, by leading with our values of kindness and hard work. Now, we're looking at a new Kentucky, one where good jobs and a good life are possible for everyone. Y'all interested? We don't blame you. So come explore your new Kentucky home. In Kentucky, we're moving forward together. Our businesses are winning and our families are thriving. Because Kentucky is a place where business is fast, but the pace of life is just right. We found the way to create a brighter future by working together, by leading with our values of kindness and hard work. Now, we're looking at a new Kentucky, one where good jobs and a good life are possible for everyone. Y'all interested? We don't blame you. So come explore your new Kentucky home.
When a bakery with your name on it opens up 2 blocks from your house, you think the world and the universe is speaking to you. Turns out it's just calling you to eat everything that they make.
Almond croissants coming at you.
Welcome to Andy's.
Hi.
This is Andy.
Yeah. You're also Andy.
I'm the other Andy today.
Both Andys here to serve.
You're making the breakfast sandwiches?
Yeah.
Well, let me say I personally appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for doing this.
Of course. We got to have a little bit of fun and celebrate small business in Kentucky. Most jobs created every year in Kentucky are from small businesses. So we lift up Andy's, we lift up everybody else, we do all right. Thank you all.
Wonderful, Governor. Just perfect, man.
You got lots of pictures.
Thanks for
We
my
did,
very
we
short
did.
internship.
Oh, thank you. We're
So-
so delighted to have you.
No, it was fun.
We
It
really
was
are.
fun. When a bakery with your name on it opens up 2 blocks from your house, you think the world and the universe is speaking to you. Turns out it's just calling you to eat everything that they make.
Almond croissants coming at you.
Welcome to Andy's.
Hi.
This is Andy.
Yeah.
This isn't just a big project, because we went back and checked the books. This will be the largest single investment in the history of West Kentucky. Let's thank this company again. It's going to bring the Paducah Gaseous Diffusion Plant back to life. Now, with America looking to supercharge emerging technologies like AI once again, it's us, it's our Commonwealth and our workforce that's being asked to step up for this nation. This is the story of Kentucky. The energy produced from our lands and from the sweat of our hard-working people helped grow our nation into a global economic powerhouse. As excited as I am of what's going on in Kentucky, record economic success, we must recognize we are failing to provide our children with the good start they deserve. Pre-K for all is a step we must take to boost our economy, to strengthen our workforce, to better educate our kids, and to put more money in the pockets of our hardworking Kentucky families. It is a win, win, win for our people. I know it's the right thing to do. As a dad and as governor, there's nothing more important than making sure that all of our children at least have the opportunity to succeed. We need Pre-K for all to make sure every child in every corner of the Commonwealth gets that chance. "95% of the world's bourbon is made in Kentucky. The other 5% is counterfeit." Wenzel is another great company, adding to the Bourbon Trail, adding to our tourism, making sure that Northern Kentucky continues to be a really important part of this bourbon economy. We see people coming by the thousands every day and every week in Kentucky to be introduced to us and our way of life because of bourbon. They stay and go through our restaurants and our shops. It brings more people and more dollars to our community. It is part of the fabric of who we are, and it is an industry that we proudly support.
Tragedies don't stop us from loving each other and helping each other. And we have a government that leads in that direction.
The vision is to turn a very horrible situation into something really wonderful.
This is good government, and this is what government needs to be doing for people who have been harmed by natural events.
If you had told me 3 years ago we would be this far along, I wouldn't have believed you.
Team Kentucky is very resilient, and people are strong, and I think this demonstrates that.
You know, we're not giving a handout here. We're actually helping rebuild the lives of people.
This is a story that needs to be told. These are families that should be celebrated.
It's made a very big difference in my life.
Ladies and gentlemen, rising. Action.
We're Kentuckians. We say hi to random strangers. It's not weird, we're just really nice. We're Kentuckians. It's not Louisville, it's Louisville. It's not Versailles, it's Versailles. Take that, France. We're Kentuckians. We know that 95% of the world's bourbon's made here, and the other 5% is counterfeit. We're Kentuckians. If we say, bless your heart, it ain't good. We're Kentuckians. We don't aspire, we twinspire. Oh.
Hi, it's Rachel. Stay tuned. The Team Kentucky update will start soon.
I just heard that in 24 states and Puerto Rico, there are Humana groups going out and helping their communities, but nobody does it like Louisville. Nobody does it like Kentucky. Thank you for being a shining example for this country and this world. Thank you all very much. Have a great day.
It was just a matter of minutes and it got up to my chest. It was terrifying. We were sure people were going to get washed away.
The Kentucky National Guard saying 400 people have been rescued by helicopter.
One mother says she used the cord from her vacuum cleaner to tie herself to her 2 children, hoping it would help keep them alive, and in the worst case, their bodies would be found together.
We had a totally new floodplain after this flood.
It was like a war zone.
Our people deserve better than this.
Eastern Kentucky saw the worst of Mother Nature, but the world saw the best of Team Kentucky.
This is something the likes of which we have never seen, which means we need a response that is the same.
I never thought it was truly going to get better, but I'm able to stand here today and say that it did get better.
So this could be the event that wiped us out, or it could be a catalyst to making some real change.
It's been a lot of work, but it's absolutely worth it. In Kentucky, we're moving forward together. Our businesses are winning, and our families are thriving. Because Kentucky is a place where business is fast, but the pace of life is just right. We found the way to create a brighter future by working together, by leading with our values of kindness and hard work. Now, we're looking at a new Kentucky, one where good jobs and a good life are possible for everyone. Y'all interested? We don't blame you. So come explore your new Kentucky home. When a bakery with your name on it opens up 2 blocks from your house, you think the world and the universe is speaking to you. Turns out it's just calling you to eat everything that they make.
Almond croissants coming at you.
Welcome to Andy's.
Hi.
This is Andy.
Yeah. You're also Andy.
I'm the other Andy today.
Both Andys here to serve.
You're making the breakfast sandwiches?
Yeah.
Well, let me say I personally appreciate you.
Oh, thank you for doing this.
Of course. We got to have a little bit of fun and celebrate small business in Kentucky. Most jobs created every year in Kentucky are from small businesses. So we lift up Andes, we lift up everybody else, we do all right. Thank you all.
Wonderful, Governor. Just perfect, man.
You got lots of pictures.
Thanks for
We
my
did,
very
we
short
did.
internship.
Oh, thank you. We're so delighted to have you.
No, it was fun. It was fun.
This isn't just a big project because we went back and checked the books. This will be the largest single investment in the history of West Kentucky. Let's thank this company again. It's going to bring the Paducah gaseous diffusion plant back to life. Now, with America looking to supercharge emerging technologies like AI once again, it's us, it's our Commonwealth and our workforce that's being asked to step up for this nation. This is the story of Kentucky. The energy produced from our lands and from the sweat of our hard-working people helped grow our nation into a global economic powerhouse.
As excited as I am of what's going on in Kentucky, record economic success, we must recognize we are failing to provide our children with the good start they deserve. Pre-K for all is a step we must take to boost our economy, to strengthen our workforce, to better educate our kids, and to put more money in the pockets of our hardworking Kentucky families. It is a win, win, win for our people. I know it's the right thing to do. As a dad and as governor, there's nothing more important than making sure that all of our children at least have the opportunity to succeed. We need Pre-K for all to make sure every child in every corner of the Commonwealth gets that chance. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Andy, and welcome to this week's Team Kentucky Update. Today, we start where we always start, with Kentucky's economy, with new jobs, and with new investment. Since the beginning of my administration, we've announced a record 1,200 new location and expansion projects for a record $43 billion in new investment and a record 64,000 new full-time jobs. Contributing to that momentum, our announcements we're making today because several new projects were just approved this morning by the Kentucky Economic Development Finance Authority. So this morning, 11 prospective new location and expansion projects were approved for performance-based tax incentives, totaling nearly $392 million in new investments that will create 913 full-time jobs. So 11 new projects were approved for incentives. Those 11 projects are projected to invest another $392 million into our economy and to create just under 1,000 new full-time jobs. Today's approvals included AXN Heavy Duty in Jefferson County, Union Coating and Chemical Industries in Barron County, Inked Brands in Warren County, Tate Inc. in Barron County, AI International in Jefferson County, Strip Tech Solutions in Jackson County, Infiltrator Water Technologies in Clark County, ViewTech USA in Scott County, Wild Flavors in Kenton County, Anthro Energy in Jefferson County, and MizCon America in Davis County. Union Coating and Chemical Industries, one of those companies, today announced that it will establish its first operation in the United States. And that operation will be a new facility in Barron County. It'll be an investment of $12 million, and it'll create 60 quality Kentucky jobs. This plant will focus initially on powder coating compounds with plans to expand into additional product lines as market demand grows. Our talented workforce, incentive programs, unique location, and speed to market resources are helping to make the Commonwealth the most attractive destination for new business. I'm excited to welcome Union Coating and Chemical Industries to Kentucky and excited that we are their first U.S. operation. We also today saw an investment in Kentucky's speed to market efforts. This is the acknowledgement that every time we announce a new business like we just did, the next business needs a new site, and the next one after that, that we can never stop improving and getting ready for the next business and opportunity. So we saw an investment today of nearly $6 million in state funding that's been approved to support site and building development projects in Carroll, Henderson, and McCracken counties. This is part of our Kentucky Product Development Initiative. The City of Carrollton and Carrollton Utilities, with support from Trimble County, are planning a natural gas extension to the River Bend project site. The project will also include a water line extension to help increase the capacity at the project site. The Henderson County Economic Development Corporation is conducting a due diligence study on land located off the 425 bypass. Completing the study will help position the property as competitive and ready for future site selection opportunities. And the Paducah McCracken Industrial Development Authority is constructing a new spec building in the Industrial Park West, located in the heart of McCracken County. All these projects will help us get that next business and the one after that and the one after that. Yesterday, I also joined local leaders in Erlanger and executives from the United States Playing Card Company to celebrate the 140th anniversary of the Bicycle Cards brand. While there, we also cut the ribbon on an expanded facility. Announced in May 2024, USPC has now expanded its Boone County operation, allowing for additional manufacturing capacity by adding a new press and finishing line. The new press and finishing line serves the casino industry and actually creates the pack of 8 decks already pre-shuffled together in random order so that the casino can take those and immediately use them for blackjack, not spending the time that it otherwise takes to do within the casino. This is an incredible company. This, again, has been around for 140 years, has taken orders directly from our armed forces to help those that are abroad in everything from a secret map of Germany to help those that might have been shot down to get home to the cards detailing Iraqi leaders in Desert Storm. The company's investment is creating 10 new quality full-time jobs. I met 2 of those individuals on the press, and it looks like they will continue to expand. This is yet another great project for the Commonwealth and an exciting milestone for United States Playing Card Company. So remember, if you're looking to buy playing cards and you buy Bicycle, you know they're supporting Kentucky jobs and that they are made in Kentucky. Last week, we also highlighted continuing momentum within the state's technology sector as TrendDocs, a software company specializing in accounts payable automation and procurement solutions, announced plans to expand its Lexington headquarters. The project is a $636,000 investment that's going to create 20 new Kentucky jobs. As a result of continued growth, the company will be leasing a new office building that will nearly quadruple the operating space of the current facility. I want to thank TrendDoc's leaders for their belief in the Commonwealth and congratulate them on the expansion. And on the 12th, we recognized leaders of several Northern Kentucky organizations who gathered to celebrate the grand opening of the One NKY Center in Covington. I worked at the legislature in 2022 to allocate $15 million towards a pharmaceutical research lab that is at this location. What it allows is startup companies and others to come in and to create the first generation of a new pharmaceutical that can then go into testing. It's the idea that if we have this space, it gives us the ability to create that next great pharmaceutical company in Kentucky that's working on that first drug that might build it into one of these powerhouses. The center brings together Northern Kentucky focused groups on business development, tourism, innovation, and community support. The new One NKY Center is home of 10 Northern Kentucky growth organizations, including BNKY Growth Partnership, the Catalytic Fund of Northern Kentucky, Educate NKY, Horizon Community Foundation of Northern Kentucky, Life Sci KY, Meet NKY, the Northern Kentucky Bar Association, the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce, One NKY Alliance, and the Thomas More University Division of External Affairs. The new 1KY Center in Covington is a perfect example of what it means to be a part of Team Kentucky. With the opening of the center, we're doing more to support business, large and small, and create high-wage jobs right here in Kentucky. We also saw new growth within the state's speed to market and site development efforts as we announced 2 new build-ready sites in Pulaski County. Both build-ready sites located in the SPEDA, the Speda Commerce Park, add to the state's growing list of properties ready for investment. The site offers over 21 acres of shovel-ready land with the capacity to operate a 150,000 square foot operation. The second site includes nearly 13 acres of land with the potential to locate a 100,000 square foot building. We want to make sure every community is ready for the next big jobs announcement, and these 2 investments are going to help Pulaski County. All right, next we have 3 announcements related to public safety. One of the most important jobs of government is to ensure that the people of our state are safe and that they feel safe. And while crime statistics for the most part are going down, it's clear people across America aren't currently feeling safe, which means we have an obligation to do more. I want to start today with a great example of doing more, of making sure that we never stop seeking justice, no matter how old a crime may be. Today, we're highlighting the Kentucky State Police Sexual Assault Kit Initiative, which is an investigative team that investigates with a focus on older cold cases that can be solved, especially through our past work in ending the rape kit backlog. It's putting all of that DNA into the system with the hopes that new DNA that comes in after arrests or convictions can tie an individual to a past crime where a victim hasn't secured that justice and deserves it. George Wayne Aldridge is an individual who was indicted in early 2023 in Fayette County for 3 sexual assaults. At the time, his DNA was secured and tied to a sexual assault that occurred in Louisville over 20 years ago. As a result of this breakthrough, on September 11th, this month of this year, Aldridge was convicted of rape in the 1st degree and sentenced to 15 years in prison. He must serve 85% of that sentence before he's eligible for parole. Aldridge will also be required to register as a lifetime offender on the sex offender registry. I want to thank the KSP Sexual Assault Kit Initiative team, Detective Ben Walcott. I want to thank the Lexington Police Department. I want to thank the Kentucky Office of the Attorney General and the Justice and Public Safety Cabinet. They use their collective resources to deliver justice for a victim that had to wait for it far too long. My administration formed the KSP Sexual Assault Kit Initiative team in 2021 after the Department of Justice awarded us $1.5 million to continue to pursue justice. In October of 2023, I was proud to announce the KSP Soccer team was awarded another $2.5 million grant to expand and enhance data collection. This grant was the second largest award in Kentucky history from the DOJ's Bureau of Justice Assistance. This comes down to every victim deserves justice. No matter how long ago a crime occurred, especially when an individual is violated, they deserve for their perpetrator to be brought to justice and to see it happen. It's why, as Attorney General, I created the Office of Child Abuse and Human Trafficking Prevention. We formed the Survivors Council. We focused on getting every single untested rape kit tested and into the system, and why we arrested a historic number of child predators. I've continued this work as governor by awarding more than $160 million in funding to victim service agencies and signing multiple pieces of legislation to better serve our people. Through SACI grant funding, offenders are being held accountable and survivors are seeing justice they probably thought they never would. So a big congratulations to the SACI team. Keep it up. And to that individual that's out there, I'm sorry it took so long, but know that we did not give up, and that person's going to pay for their crimes. And if you are somebody that would commit a sexual assault, if you are somebody that would violate another human being, know in Kentucky, we will not stop pursuing you. We will find you no matter how long it takes. We will investigate, we will arrest, and we will prosecute you. You will be held accountable. All right, our second announcement involves work to prevent future crimes. That idea that we might not always be able to stop an individual from committing a crime the first time, but especially when those individuals are incarcerated, we have the tools and the ability to reduce recidivism and prevent future crimes from happening. Since I took office, we've seen some of the lowest recidivism rates in recent history. That includes in February when we announced that nearly 70% of those released from state custody the past 2 years have not returned to prison. It's important that we continue to invest in second chances because successful reentry builds safer communities. It prevents crimes from happening in the first place, and it boosts our economy. When an inmate is able to secure a stable, good-paying job once released, they are much less likely to reoffend, much less likely to commit another crime. That's why I truly believe there is power and there is safety in second chances. We've added 14 different technical education courses in prisons across the Commonwealth in less than 1 year. And in the next month, the Department of Corrections will begin offering new courses in construction, in plumbing, and CDL permit programs. By the end of the year, 26 courses will be available for inmates to prepare them for employment upon release. If we want to build this new Kentucky home, one where our neighbors, schools, workplaces, and houses of worship aren't just safer, but actually feel safer, reducing recidivism is one path to making sure we build that home. The Department of Corrections, though, needs your help to build this safer community. We need your help. The Department of Corrections is currently seeking qualified instructors to train inmates in welding, HVAC, electric plumbing, auto tech, and collision repair, as well as those training to become linemen and barbers. Applications for these positions can be found on secondchance.ky.gov. This is our one-stop shop for second chance employers and individuals who have been released. Kentuckians seeking recovery from addiction and interested candidates who wish to apply as an instructor inside our prisons. Those are all folks that can go to this website. So it's a one-stop shop for second chance employers, individuals who've been released, Kentuckians seeking recovery, and interested candidates who wish to apply as instructors. We have even more plans to expand in vocational education and technical programs. This website on the screen is the best place to check for new positions. So if you're maybe a recent retiree looking for purpose, if you view ministry as part of second chances in your life and you have one of these skills and can be an instructor, you have an opportunity to help us create a safer Kentucky and a better world. These instructor positions aren't just jobs, they're opportunities to change lives, open doors, and create that safer Kentucky to live out our faith and values. Right now, we're seeing the best economic win streak in our history, Second chance hiring will just help us do that much more. We're already seeing positive results from this work too. Back in February, we launched a pre-apprenticeship program with Ironworkers Local Union 70, training inmates to become skilled ironworkers. I'm proud to share today that since then, 45 inmates have graduated from the program. Several have secured a job in the field. Now folks are helping build infrastructure that will carry Kentucky into the future. To continue our progress, I'm also making a third announcement that impacts public safety, and those are more significant steps to enhance safety at our juvenile justice facilities. When I took office, our juvenile justice system had been in place and really hadn't changed in over 20 years. It hadn't been updated to meet the challenges of today. We acted quickly and recognized the need to make change, and we took action. There are several areas we focused on. First, safety and security. Second, services and programming to support our youth for successful outcomes. Third, recruitment and retention of skilled staff and security personnel. And fourth, infrastructure changes so facilities can meet today's needs. For safety, we made system-wide changes. In 2022, to better protect youth and staff, we announced a new system where DJJ operates 3 high-security detention centers. We also opened a female-only DJJ center, separating males and females for the first time in our history. The 3 high-security facilities are for male juveniles 14 years and older who are charged with offenses indicating a higher potential for violent behavior. They are those facing charges for significant violent behavior. And those are folks that have less incentive to participate in the programming, and we found to be more disruptive. If you are looking at a long potential sentence that you are likely to serve in an adult prison, there is less of an incentive for you to participate in DJJ programming. Remember, before we did this, we could have someone awaiting trial for murder and someone who had been put in by a judge for truancy in the same facility. By separating male youth by more serious or violent offense from those with lower level, we've been able to enhance protocols and training to better meet the needs of both populations, and we've seen many and much fewer disruptions impact low-level offenders that have shorter stays, and we need to ensure have less disruption in their lives. We've also upgraded protective equipment, worked with the Kentucky State Police and Department of Corrections to enhance security, assigned legislation to require training for use of protective equipment, created a compliance division to ensure that the best practices are identified and followed. We contracted with the Eastern Kentucky University to conduct a training needs assessments for all positions with steps to implement changes recommended and revamp training. And I signed legislation, and we have begun work to redesign and reopen the Jefferson County Youth Detention Center. That was a center that was operated by the city of Louisville, closed based on their decision. We've now been asked to reopen and are working towards that goal. We're also taking steps to better support our youth and their needs by implementing new services and programs. For the first time ever, now every DJJ facility employs a mental health treatment director. These youth have complex needs and backgrounds. Now these mental health providers can better address the individual needs. We also amended contracts allowing 2 psychiatric nurse practitioners to treat youth on a regular basis at every facility. Today, I signed 2 emergency regulations to update the isolation regulation. This step requires leadership review, and it requires leadership to approve time limits. It'll also mandate all DJJ staff are trained on this new policy and that isolation isn't excessively used, is only used in the most appropriate circumstances, and that it is used safely and effectively. Along with that, we implemented the crisis intervention system, Handle with Care. This focuses on de-escalation and mental health for juveniles. It is a different way to address a juvenile that is escalating towards violence or one that is engaged in some sort of conflict. It was implemented across the entire department in July of this year, and every staff member who interacts or will interact with youth receives the training. We've also created opportunities for youth to have goals and to work towards something. Through a partnership with the Kentucky Department of Education and the Department of Career and Technical Education, juveniles can now participate in vocational programs for future employment. In addition, the Adair Youth Development Center, in partnership with the local public schools, thank you to them, is now offering 200 virtual classes with GED offerings. Thanks to those combined efforts, the 2024-2025 academic year saw 72 juveniles earn their high school diplomas, 4 earn their GED, 250 receive vocational certifications, and 7 complete college courses. Now, one of the biggest challenges we faced when I came into office was addressing the critical staffing shortage at DJJ facilities. Staffing had gotten so low because pay was so low that the facilities were not safe, and we knew we had to act. We made recruitment and retention a priority, and I'm really proud to say we have made significant progress. Through pay increases and by signing legislation to boost staff salaries, DJJ has increased frontline correctional officer salaries by more than 60%. That is DJJ has now increased our frontline correctional officers, the total number, by more than 60%. That is the highest number the department has employed in recent history. And with salary increases for psychologists, social service workers, clinicians, and specialists, almost all of our medically related positions are now filled. And as a final update, one of the complaints that we would get from local law enforcement was transportation, was the need to get these juveniles that a court would order into detention, because we take every single juvenile that a court orders into detention to one of our facilities in the state. We promised, and we have successfully implemented a new transportation sector within DJJ to take that onus off of local law enforcement. As of today, we have 44 people employed for transport in DJJ. Again, this is a program that didn't exist in this form in the past. These staff and their work have helped ease the burden on local law enforcement. When we look at juveniles transported by this group in 2025, 363 in January, 291 in February, 386 in March, 316 in April, 336 in May, 241 in June, 327 in July, 261 in August. So again, working to make sure that every day we try to improve this system. We recognize that every Department of Juvenile Justice across the country are facing new and unique challenges, but we don't run away from problems. We run towards them, and we work and we work and we work until we do better each and every day. All right, September is also Recovery Month in Kentucky. It's a month where we're making sure that Kentuckians struggling with addiction know that no one needs to walk the road to recovery alone. We're also continuing our progress to offer more treatment resources and support, and we're working to get more drugs out of our communities. At the start of the month, we gathered on the steps of the Capitol to celebrate 6 new counties certified as recovery-ready communities. We're now up to 31 total. And today, we close out September by awarding more than $1.4 million in grant funding to 9 local and state agencies across the Commonwealth. This funding goes to local law enforcement, drug task forces, and nonprofit organizations. It helps these groups fight drug trafficking, support crime victims, and expand drug prevention programs. 9 organizations across Kentucky are receiving funding from the Edward J. Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant. Each of these organizations is receiving over $100,000. Thank you to these groups for all they're doing. With 3 straight years of declines in overdose deaths, we can finally see real hope, especially after last year, where we saw a 30% decline. But we're still losing too many people, each one a child of God, loved by their family and their friends. Let's keep working until we end this epidemic that arose in our lifetime. And I think we have an obligation not to leave to our kids or to our grandkids. All right, in Kentucky, we're also working together to protect the health and safety of our people in other ways. That means working to protect our groundwater, streams, and communities from the impacts of abandoned oil and gas wells. So abandoned oil and gas wells can cause areas of land to become unusable. They can prevent our kids from playing there, farmers from planting crops around them, or Kentuckians from living there. We're working hard to cap these abandoned wells so more folks can safely enjoy these spaces. We estimate that there are more than 15,000 of these abandoned wells across the Commonwealth, and we're finding more and more each week. Since the fall of 2022, we've invested more than $50 million towards this effort through the federal Orphan Well Plugging Program. With the initial $25 million awarded in October of 2022, we capped 635 wells in 27 counties. In May of 2024, a second round of funding came, and we plugged 17 additional wells. And we're working this week to plug wells in Menifee and in Butler counties. 140 more projects are in the works for Grayson, Henderson, Rockcastle, Floyd, Barron, Hart, Jackson, and other counties, and we are going to keep up the pace. Today, I'm proud to share that the Department of the Interior has awarded Kentucky $35 million additional dollars for this program. We'll keep making sure our land, water, air, and most importantly, our families are protected from the effects of these abandoned wells. Since 2022, this program has created about 100 jobs for Kentuckians, and so we're grateful for these funds. There's another program related to it, the Methane Emissions Reduction Program, and that helps us reduce emissions of methane and other greenhouse gases from active, low-producing oil and gas wells. We're investing about $13 million in that program to cap around 150 of these wells throughout Kentucky. So I want to thank the Division of Oil and Gas, the Department for Local Government, our contractors, landowners, and others for coming together on this important project. All right, today we also have Dr. Stack with us to discuss the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, or TANF block grant funding. He's going to go into more detail, but this is a set amount of grant funding that we receive each year. It goes to a couple of different uses. The two biggest ones are families in need with dependents that can secure funding for a certain period of time, the idea to get back on your feet, as well as foster care. So in 2023, the federal government came to us and said that we hadn't raised payments in far too long, and the grant amount could support raising those payments. So we raised them. Since then, families in need in the program have grown by over 50%, and the cost of some care needed for high acuity youth has significantly increased. Now, costs exceed the total amount of the grant, requiring us to rebalance those payments. So we're going to be sending notices out to these families about what they're going to see. In some instances, funding is going to be cut. In others, it will be cut some, but still be higher than it was before the adjustment in 2023. I'll turn it over to Dr. Stack.
Thank you, Governor. Good afternoon, Team Kentucky. So today, like the Governor said, I want to take a few minutes to talk about important changes coming to the Kentucky Transitional Assistance Program, or KTAP, and to transportation supports through the Kentucky Works program. So KTAP is a program that uses federal TANF grant dollars. Now, TANF is Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, and this provides financial and medical assistance to the parents or caregivers of children in need. The program also helps families find employment or get the training needed to secure a future job. The changes I'm about to review will impact November benefits. So this November 1st, folks in these programs will see their monthly KTAP payments and transportation amounts decrease. I know this is difficult news, and I want to explain why this is happening and what it means for families. So as the Governor said, in 2023, due to declining participation rates and very low benefit amounts, our federal partners directed Kentucky to update its TANF program for the first time since 1995 to better reflect nearly 3 decades worth of rising prices for goods, services, living costs, and other expenses. That update found that more Kentucky families needed help than were projected, and KTAP provided that additional support. As a result, the program grew more quickly than projected. Now, to break that down, the average number of families participating increased from 10,026 in state fiscal year 23 to 15,117 in state fiscal year 25. At the same time, costs for children in foster care rose sharply. Not only did we see an increase in the number of children entering foster care, but the cost of their care also increased. We have children in foster care who at times can't be placed right away because the services they need simply are not available. In those situations, our DCBS social workers have stepped in to provide around-the-clock care to make sure those children are safe. That has meant significant spending in staff overtime, security, and other emergency supports. And when we are unable to find placement, it is often through when we are able to find placement, it is often through single case agreements or pilot programs, which can come at substantially higher rates than traditional foster placements. So taken together, the faster than expected growth in TANF participation and the rising costs of foster care, these things are putting us in a situation where we face a funding shortfall and are unable to cover both needs at the current levels. To ensure we can continue meeting the urgent needs of children in foster care, we've had to make the difficult decision to reduce KTAP cash benefits and transportation supports. The new amount for eligible families is still higher than the amounts prior to 2023. However, it will still be an adjustment. I want to be clear, this is not a penalty for families receiving KTAP or for those participating in the Kentucky Works program. This change is the result of circumstances that go beyond any one program or household. We recognize that these reductions will result in added burdens, and we are committed to helping families connect with other resources where possible. If you need help applying for other benefits or finding community resources, please call a case manager at 1-855-306-8959. That's 1-855-306-8959, or visit your local DCBS office. We are here to help. Changes like these are not easy, and they are never welcome. When financial resources are available, we are committed to directing them to support Kentuckians. Unfortunately, the other side of the coin is that when demand increases or funding is reduced, programs must be adjusted to stay within the designated budget allowed. Despite today's news, Team Kentucky's goal remains the same: to support Kentucky families, help parents work towards self-sufficiency, and make sure children are safe and cared for. Thank you for your understanding and for working with us as we continue to navigate these challenges together. Governor?
Last Thursday, we hosted the premiere of Rising at the Mountain Arts Center in Prestonsburg. Rising's a documentary from Team Kentucky that tells the story of strength and resilience of Eastern Kentuckians following the deadly 2022 flooding. At the event, survivors and high ground homeowners, first responders, and local officials joined us to watch the documentary. That was followed by a roundtable discussion with county and city leaders from the area. If you were unable to join us at that premiere, we will host a special screening of the film tomorrow at the Grand Theater in downtown Frankfort. Doors open at 5 p.m. Seats are limited, so please RSVP by visiting rising.ky.gov. There you'll find the RSVP link, more information on the documentary, and how to donate to the Team Kentucky Storm Relief Fund. All proceeds go directly to help storm survivors across the Commonwealth. And now, for this week's Team Kentucky All-Star, we're going to outer space. Erin Overcash from Oldham County was just named one of NASA's newest astronaut recruits. She is one of 10 selected from over 8,000 applicants to report for duty as part of the 24th astronaut class. Erin has accomplished some incredible things to get where she is today. She has a bachelor's degree in aerospace engineering and a master's in bioastronautics from the University of Colorado, Boulder. She is a lieutenant commander in the U.S. Navy. She served as a test pilot with over 1,300 flight hours in 20 different types of aircrafts. She was also a part of the Navy's world-class athlete program, which allowed her to train with the USA Rugby Women's National Team at the Olympic Training Center. And she is a two-time Kentucky State champion high jumper. That's pretty impressive. Over the next 2 years, she'll train for complex operations aboard the International Space Station, Artemis missions to the moon, and more. Following graduation, she'll join NASA's active astronaut corps. Congratulations, Erin. We are really proud of you. We recognize that this is an accomplishment that very, very, very few people ever achieve, and you do us great pride from being from Kentucky, having come so far and having achieved this. We are honored to name you this week's Team Kentucky All-Star. All right, with that, we will turn it over to questions from the press. As a reminder, we do this just about every week. Any journalist can join and can ask a question. What that means is that your government is always available and willing to answer those questions if people take the opportunity to either show up or to call in. All right, we'll start with Carolina from WLAX.
Some lawmakers are saying that they're definitely going to look into the problem. It's unlikely, leaders are saying that it's going to be a complete rollback of clerks, but they're going to look at some fixes. What are some things that you suggest they look at for specifically?
We welcome lawmakers working with us on driver's licensing because, especially with the addition of vision testing and 15-year-olds, we're going to need more funding for more locations. I know that people want more locations, which requires more in the budget, as well as moving temporary staff to permanent staff. Those are two things that we can do. KSP is probably going to need a budget increase to have more of the testing because they run the actual driver's test with individuals. But we look forward to working with lawmakers on that to provide the services to make sure they're faster. Now, we also need to look at how to better get information out about how to skip the line. We have a couple of different ways where you don't have to come in. If you're willing to see an optometrist or an ophthalmologist on your own and or coming in, getting the vision screening, but filling the rest out online. So we need to make sure that more Kentuckians see those options. Yeah. I believe in the freedom of speech. The freedom of speech is so important. It's in the First Amendment. That means it is really, really important. And freedom of speech, does mean that people can say some ugly things, but that's typically what turns people off from them. More people have turned people away from terrible causes by the terrible things they say than a lot of other things have. So yes, the FCC commissioner threatening a network because it was an outright threat for jokes a comedian tells violates the First Amendment and is a major overstep. And now trying to walk it back, acting like he never said it. Listen, we heard his free speech, and it was a threat against those networks. Sadly, the president continues to push those threats and seems to define free speech by how many people say nice things about him versus say negative things about him. Again, that's just not how free speech works. And when you take one of these jobs, you accept that people are going to be critical of you. That's part of free speech. Karen Czar from WUKY.
Good afternoon, Governor. Thank you. We've had Dr. Stack on several times recently talking about recommendations regarding vaccines, and now this week, Tylenol. We've also asked you about the same question recently. Are there concerns that as federal recommendations shift, if the state does not align, that funding could be affected?
Well, we haven't seen that yet. Certainly, the president's press conference on Tylenol and pregnancy was reckless and dangerous. We need our science to be based in science, not to be a political agenda. I've said before that RFK Jr. is not qualified, should not be a cabinet secretary of anything. And what he's pushing out there are going to make our families less safe. Please listen to your doctor. I really wish you could listen right now to HHS or the CDC, but listen to your doctor. Decades of sound science is being overturned or at least ignored by the federal government, and that's really unfortunate. You've seen other administrations, Democrat and Republican, still treat science as science. This administration seems to not view fact as fact, and unfortunately want to make science their political views. Make sure you talk to your doctor. We want Kentuckians to be and to stay healthy, and we'll continue to speak out to give you what we believe is the best advice. We didn't work so hard to get everybody through a pandemic for now conspiracy theories at the highest level of government to put you in danger. Josh Wood from the Courier-Journal.
Good afternoon, Governor Beshear. The sheriffs of both Robertson and Trigg counties remain in office despite having convictions that occurred while in office. We are aware that a number of Kentuckians from those counties have expressed frustration, disappointment that they have not been removed from office. Some of those folks describe not feeling safe. What is your message to Kentuckians in Trigg and Robertson counties who have reached out to your office asking for you to take action?
Well, we want everybody out there to feel safe in their communities and to be safe in their communities. Sheriffs are constitutional officers. And so when some people say, why don't sheriffs have a boss? It's because the Constitution created the office not to. The boss of sheriffs are the people that elect them and can ultimately refuse to vote for them the next time. Now, there are just a couple of procedures that are out there for removal of constitutional officers. Impeachment by the legislature is one, and there is a provision about sheriffs related to the governor. But this provision has only been used once successfully since the founding of our Commonwealth in 1792. So when you look at potentially invoking something that's only been used ever once successfully, and if you read about that case, it involves John Y. Brown and Happy Chandler, used in what was a very political situation. What you look for is how the criminal justice system has treated those cases. Certainly, misdemeanors as opposed to felonies are something that you pay attention to. Certainly, DUIs then push you into a standard where the law is actually talked about drunkenness and what is required. But what I'd say to individuals who don't feel safe in those communities is we've received a little bit of information. If there's more that you think we need, send it. I think I got a new letter that I saw today from Robertson County. It had the citations, not the convictions or not any evidence from what was eventually, I think, pled down or an offered plea in those, but you can keep sending those. But I want to close again by saying this is a procedure that has been used successfully one time, to my knowledge, in the history of the entire Commonwealth of Kentucky. Edward Marlowe from WKDZ Radio in Cadiz.
Governor, good afternoon from the Pennyrile. It's been brought to my attention that home-delivered meals from senior citizen centers could be on the chopping block across the Commonwealth as soon as October 1st due to some budgetary issues. And I was curious if you had been briefed on this issue, and if you have, what do you think the next steps are for area development districts, your office, and the Kentucky General Assembly?
Yeah, at least until the General Assembly comes into session, we're all going to have to tighten our belts. What this is a senior meal program that didn't exist in its current form before the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, we saw that we had a large waiting list for seniors for meals, which shouldn't exist. I mean, in a state and a country that grows enough food for everybody, no one should go hungry. Sadly, that occurs all across the United States, and we developed and worked with the ad districts on enhancing this program to address it. During the pandemic, there were significant amounts of ARPA and other funds that we were able to use to eliminate a waiting list entirely. Coming out of the pandemic, we were able to work with the legislature for the first time ever to use general fund towards senior meals. It hadn't happened before. Now, in this last budget, there was a historic amount in each fiscal year, $10 million each to support this program. Last year, that didn't end up being enough. We had some leftover ARPA money, and we're able to supplement it. This year, the ad districts are saying they're going to need about double of what is the budgeted amount to meet the total needs, and there aren't ARPA funds left. The challenge with the budget is it sets the upward limit of the dollars that you have. So the only shorter term solution is when the legislature comes back, they could have an opportunity to appropriate again to this year. They can reopen this budget to increase it. What I will say is we need to take a really hard look at costs per meals, at costs of delivery, on whether we can do more of a carry-out model. Are the meals just going to the senior citizens? Do we also offer them to certain families? At a time when we've got a budget deficit of $300 million, we're going to have to address in this budget. And we're going to have significantly less usable dollars for a number of reasons in the next budget. We're going to have to be really cost conscious, and that's going to hit a lot of great programs. You heard about the TANF program and the fact that we're going to have slightly decreased benefits. I don't like it. But again, we have to be fiscally responsible and live within the budget. I think the ad districts are trying to do their very best. They're trying to achieve what I wanted to achieve, zero waiting list. We're all going to hit a point now where we've got limited resources to try to make the biggest impact. So we're going to have to look back at all these programs and figure out how to maximize them. Isaiah Kim Martinez, WHAS.
Thank you, Governor. Last week, 2 new Democrats joined the U.S. Senate race, Logan Forsyth and Joel Willett. Have you talked with either of them about this race, and would you consider endorsing one of them?
We did have 2 people join the U.S. Senate race. I've spoken to both of them. I typically speak at least to the Democrats who call me when they enter these races. I try to give them the best advice that I can. Right now, what I'm seeing is likely a competitive primary, and while I wouldn't say never, I rarely endorse in Democratic primaries. And finally, Aminkai Bourbon from the Herald Leader.
Hi, Governor. I'd like to know what you would say to local Democrats throughout Kentucky who might be a little bit more afraid to get involved in politics in the wake of Charlie Kirk's murder, and how to continue building power in areas where they might be outnumbered.
Well, I'd say that anyone considering getting into politics from any party right now is looking at the Charlie Kirk murder and then looking at their family and weighing all of that. What I'd say is you've got a lot of great local law enforcement that will give you tips on your personal safety and security, both at home and when you're on a campaign trail. But for folks out there that are considering getting into these elections, I mean, democracy is based on participation. And the only way that you change hearts and minds is to have different candidates that are out there talking about the issues the way that they see them. But what I'd also tell them is make sure you have your why. You have that reason that makes you want to get up out of bed and get into something that might be difficult, that might even appear unwinnable because you care so much about something that you want to change or so much about a group that you want to help that you're willing to go through all of it. To me, my why is my faith. It's why I try to make decisions that put love over hate, acceptance over judgment, that tries to create a kinder Kentucky, because I think we've proven that there is incredible strength and kindness. Look after any of our natural disasters. Look at building the best economy we've seen, at least in my lifetime, and breaking all these economic development records. And so talk to your family. Think through all of it. Don't get into it lightly because it is a big sacrifice. But I'd say we need you. I mean, democracy needs you. And I'd say that to Democrats, Republicans, and independents. If you think that you have better ideas and you can create a better Kentucky, a better county that you live in, a better United States of America, then please step up, make your voice heard. Whether you win or not, just your voice being heard can make real change. All right, that's it for this Team Kentucky update. We are back next week at the same time. We'll see you then.